Welcome back to another episode of Track Talk. Today we are rejoined for, geez, how many times have we had you on, iPi?
This is my fourth, I think.
Yeah, is this the fourth time I've had you on, or
I
is it
believe
the
so. I
third?
think I have the record.
Oh, wait,
Is it three?
I think it
I'm
might be
losing
three
count.
because we didn't do lines.
Okay,
So
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah,
we should do lines at some point though. That's a good track as well.
sure.
But
I guess I could.
yeah, today at least we are talking about Gypsy. Yet another
Hmm.
one of a kind track produced by the legendary iPi. So, this track, I believe, was released. Was this released after Toivo released Carnival of Rust?
I think it was released on the same day
Oh yeah, I remember now. That was an
because
epic
I
day.
tried to upload it to YouTube and I got copyright
Yeah,
striked.
yeah, yeah. What did you think of
Yeah, so
Carnival
that
of
was.
Rust, by the way? Before we get into this.
Uh, I I thought it was like kind of the standard fare, like for what I've seen from Toivo at the start. But then when it got to the end with the sixth iteration manual tricks, that really blew my mind.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that part.
Oh
Gave
yeah.
me some ideas.
Yeah, I interviewed him yesterday, I believe, and he said that that switch up in the track was directly inspired by Falling to the Beat.
Yeah, I watched that because
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because that was
So
something I was
that was
curious on.
fun.
Yeah, I like this little mini rivalry we have going on here. Let's see what it might push you two to do. So, yeah, getting into the track, what was your? Because I remember you saying to me at the beginning, before you really got into this track, that it was going to be kind of more of a relaxed approach. But from what I saw, you kind of kicked it up a notch. So, yeah, what was like the thought process?
Yeah. So I started this track. I was trying to make a slow manual because falling to the beat was mostly high speed manuals. It has that little middle section in there.
Hmm.
So I kind of wanted to make a slower manual track, uh, in the style of that middle section, but kind of make it the whole thing. Uh, I've had the idea for it's like it all ties together. It goes back to Mountain, where I had the idea for a middle section that would kind of do new manual tricks, uh, mainly at the start here. Can I start going through this? Actually, is that okay?
Yeah, however you want to do
All
it.
right. I think that would be easier. So I actually drew this circle just to cover up these lines because
Sure.
I didn't have a plan when I started the track. I didn't even have a song choice. I was trying to make an interesting start.
Yeah.
So I ended up spinning them around, and then I decided for the aesthetic that it would be best if I covered it up with something. So I just made a circle, and then I had the idea to fade it in through the. I don't know if you remember the editing at the start of this track. It
Mm.
kind of it cuts to the track.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea with this was to try out new manual forms. Here, this is like a balanced tail manual pinch.
Yeah, that's an interesting position. Like a lot of this goes by quickly. There's so many positions in this.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, what was your original question?
What was the thought process going in? Like, did you
Okay, the thought process.
yeah, did you plan to make the style of the track the way you did? I mean, you said you
Okay.
wanted, to develop new kinds of slow manuals, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So, uh, when this section started, I got to probably. I think it was. I'm kind of glossing over this right now, but when we got to this manual right here, the what do you call it? No rotation.
yeah,
That's when the idea really started solidifying this track of what I was going to try to do, which is basically to have a bunch of lines that interconnect with each other, like
yeah,
a very clean appearance. And then basically that became the rule of creating the track is that anything that affects him has to be within a single line, which is kind of a popular thing going on right now. A lot of people are doing this.
oh yeah,
Let me go ahead and rewind it a bit.
yeah. It's very aesthetic and clean looking, and
Mm-hmm.
from it kind of adds another layer of complexity as well. And it's kind of subversive as well. I mean, it kind of surprises you when you have no idea what's about to happen, and then something like this
Yes, that
happens.
was definitely something I was trying to do. Unpredictability
Yeah,
I was trying to have in
unpredictability.
my track.
Yeah, I
So
feel
this
like
is a
go ahead. Yeah.
okay. So this is like a balanced nose manual. Like to keep him on this rotation. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
uh, but of course, keeping him in this position slows him down rapidly. So I just had to. A lot of these green lines, I went through multiple versions of. Like I didn't know whether to keep it going straight and have him fall through or curve
Right.
it. Like I had to do a lot of like alterations as the track grew in complexity.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more of this stuff. But that kind of okay. So this is my first track where I actually learned how to do proper granules.
Okay. Just
So
you realize
these are
though, like, I'll preface this by saying that these are probably some of the best granules we've ever seen.
well, technically they're perfect granules.
Yeah.
So
Not
let
just
me
the
go
best,
to.
folks. I've been corrected there. They're perfect.
Well, again, I used Argland's circle making method, and then I didn't use iterations at the start of this track, but at the later part of this track with the high speed, that's when I got really into it. What am I looking for here? There it is, contact points.
Yep.
So it's just pulling both of these contact points and like holding it to the line like a magnet.
Yeah.
It's not like difficult per se. It's just like a lot
It's
of tedious
extremely
work.
time consuming. I've
Yeah,
made
'cause
some stuff like this myself, and like the reason I never really made any more after that is because it's just a pain in the ass. So yeah, big
yeah,
shout out for doing that.
thank you. This track actually took more hours to create than Falling to the Beat.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at this line here, like even before the hit test, it's kind of like looking at like a kind of like really rare jewel or something. Like so, like looking at like a final level boss. Like you don't just really see stuff like that very often. I mean, how
yeah.
yeah, how like complex was it to have him actually accelerate whilst going up a line in that position?
Well, what is actually happening here is I'm pulling the bottom nose contact point towards the line, and then I'm pushing this point down.
Oh.
So when it gets to the point where he's like, because he's wanting to rotate clockwise here, because it's like the weight, because I'm holding him by the nose. So
Yeah.
it's just this line is pulling and that line's pushing, and that
Yeah.
kind of locks him in position.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And then a lot of these red lines here are unnecessary. Later in the track, I started using green lines for the lines that he doesn't actually contact.
Yeah.
But here, I was figuring it out. So
Yeah. So eventually, you kind of went with the Toivo method of like
yeah,
OCD minimalism.
I love that I forgot about this. So I'm honestly forgetting how this works because I had to change this so that he could go through this section later. But I did it earlier on. I don't actually remember how I fixed this.
That must have been such a headache.
Because I didn't plan for him going like. I suppose if you wanted to like have the ultimate unpredictable track, you would just do this on every single frame. But that's too much work.
That's I guess the advantage of doing it the Toivo way, like he was saying yesterday. I guess you watched the episode. Doing it in that, like frame perfect.
It gives you more freedom.
Yeah, like you can go back and go through stuff you've already done, and you have like more choice. But still, this is still insane.
All right. So I had the idea then. Okay, so let me just go back here. So you notice these two lines are really close to each other. I made them pretty much as close as I could get. Like the line hitbox. I mean, there's a little bit of room here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to try to like, because I had never done granules. All the lines had to be really far apart in order for him to not like get pulled up accidentally by another curve or something.
Yep.
So I just wanted to kind of be creative with granules and see how close I could get them to another line without it affecting either pass through.
Right. That's a really nice
And
blue
then
manual, by the way.
I know, that's surprising me. It's been a while since I've looked at the file here. I guess that just balanced out really nicely.
Yeah.
So then I had the idea for having multiple tubes here, and this is when I started deciding that this is going to be a recycling track because recycling is not one of my strong suits,
Oh, really?
or wasn't. In this version, recycling is way easier than in the older versions
Oh, yeah.
because of the live test. You'll notice these lines here. These are like they're stabilizers, so when it
Yeah.
goes through on a next pass,
Oh, right, yeah.
then this was fun. It was all these recycles I had to work with not having him intersect the hitbox or something.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so this was my first tail granule.
Ah. Wait, that's a granule?
Is it a granule? I don't know.
Isn't it just
It's
a fling? Or a chain?
Is it a fling?
I think it's a chain, really, isn't it? Because it's not like it's on. It's like hanging from. I don't know. Like if you put a green line over a fling, is it a granule or is it a fling? These are deep philosophical questions.
It's. I'm calling it a granule because it's an opposite. Instead of pushing the tail, I'm pulling it. But I guess that's kind of getting into like more technical terms.
You heard it here first, folks. Arglin, go and change the line writer definition in the dictionary now.
Oh yeah. I have some problems with some of Arglin's definitions.
Oh, you hear that? Arglin's getting called
There
out.
you go.
Oh shit.
Okay. So this is a chain because it affects him on every frame. A fling affects him every other frame. Okay.
Yeah, I should have said chain. To be honest, like I'm the worst person for line writer terminology.
It's not very important. You're just doing stuff. It affects things.
Yep. Yeah,
so
exactly.
every other line isn't being used here, and that's because it gets used on the next pass through. And so then we just. Ooh. I'll go ahead and play this part with the music.
There's so much insane shit going on here. You're just like, yeah, it's all right.
Okay, I think so. This curve came later, so I was able to work with it. Like I didn't have to draw this before, so that way I can have them face through there. So one of the things is one of my complaints about Quirk back in the day was that it was too fast paced. Like there were so many tricks happening like in a second of track that it was like hard to watch.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
which I think also boils down to how like time based, how much time investment those tricks kind of require.
Exactly. So it takes it'll take like maybe an hour or an hour and a half to do, for example, this.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to have really long drawn out tricks. Because it's easier to watch. Like it fits the style that I was trying to go for here, where everything just kind of flows into like, even though it takes a lot more work.
Well, hey.
Okay.
That's
okay, this part.
That's what we love. We love this perfection.
More work. Okay, so I was originally going to have him like follow this curve around, but I did a playback test like at this point, and I just saw where he went, and he flew all the way up here. And so that's when I fixed this part, and I made it so he could go through, which again, I don't remember.
Jeez, he goes right through that exact section again. That's a lot of pass-throughs, my dude.
That was luck that worked. And then I just drew a line to...
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to, like, I could see it after. I just positioned the lines so that it would push him into this recycle properly, and then I could just see it after.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay. So I was also trying to keep it fairly compact, this section.
That's one of the things about recycling tracks is often if the track itself is overly complicated, like if someone watching has to be like really paying attention to even realize you're recycling something.
Yeah, like Retrograde by Sheldon, which is I really like that track. That is one of my favorite recycling tracks.
Yeah,
I'm glad he has like a playback where he has recycle counters, because it is not possible to keep track of.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of retrograde. But yeah, that is
Mhm.
an issue with that, I guess.
All right. So then here I was able to let go of him so that I could use this line that I didn't use earlier. And it's kind of like switching contact points. So, well, it's the same contact point, but it just like switches, and then I make sure that it locks to the line. So
Right.
there's no bouncing. And then here I ran out of speed, so I had to do a shoulder pinch to
Ah,
get him up
yeah,
there.
those. I love
Because
those.
I was going to do a tail manual, but I just ran out of speed.
Fair
It
enough.
actually ended up working out great, though. I think this section looks really
Yeah, it's
nice,
very fluid.
especially that turn there.
Mm.
And then we have this. Can I risk playing it? Okay, this part. So we got the third tube there. This is when I started trying to think outside the box with granules. Instead of doing manuals, I started wanting to experiment with different positions.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking, so this is flat sled, but pulling the hands and feet as well.
Yep. Which gives you a much better pull with that speed you got
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, it lets you pull with a lot more force. And then I tried doing some rolling and stuff. In full speed, it looks pretty good, but it didn't really come out the way I'd wanted it to. He really slowed down a whole lot from that roll. Let me see, like he was going 18 here, and then at the end of the rolls, he's doing like 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of experimenting. Then this part, I wanted to get him on top of the line, which is, I think this section took me like multiple sessions just because I kept like trying to get it to work and it just kept not looking good.
Damn.
And then I have the little I tried to sync that to the music.
Yeah, I noticed that when I watched it. I like that little sync.
And then another shoulder pinch to gain speed. And then I recycled this part. It doesn't look too great, honestly. One of the things I will say about the Toivo interview you did is I noticed that he pays way more attention than I do to Bosch's form in a manual. Like I'm very focused on like the shape of the line and like keeping maximum pressure and balance.
Yep.
But he's more about how Bosch looks while doing the manual, like if his hand is bouncing up too much or something, which I think is
yeah, he pays attention
a really
to the
interesting way
momentum.
of looking to it.
Yeah, like I've noticed people
Like
have different styles. Like you said, you do the lines. Toivo's obsessed with the body, and then Sheldon was showing me something where you just paste the line so it stays in the same position, which is all pretty interesting. Everyone has their own kind of style.
Yeah, I think it would be losing my train of thought.
No worries.
All right, I think I'll just move on. So, yep, this section where I'm trying to recycle space, keep it kind of compact. This is a manual with his hand inward because that's just how it happened to work out. And I like this. It goes from that manual to this is a granule, right?
Or a fling or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the
inverted manual. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
It's just magnet to the line.
I think you've just blurred too many lines at this point, iPi. Undefinable.
There's no good definition.
Yep.
And then there's me using the contact points. Oh.
Yeah, I got triggered by that when I saw that.
That is not working.
Oh boy.
At least no one will notice.
Now they all know.
Now they will.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows. Good.
I'm okay, so then that imperfection and hold it against you forever now.
Okay. Moving on. Let's zooming. So then I was like, okay, we can I could stick him to a line, like just in a straight line, because usually he'll want to kind of fly off the line, and this syncs with the music too. Then it's like upside down flat sled, and so I'm holding the nose and the tail points on the top here, and then again, all sync to the music. I decided to drop the nose and just let him hang by the tail.
Yeah.
And I actually like that transition.
Yeah, like one
I like
thing.
this whole hanging line section.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. One thing I really appreciated about that was how long you held that position ball. Just because it, like as you say, it works well. But I mean, also like knowing how long that kind of shit takes was nice to see.
Yeah, I think this part probably took
Yeah,
me like
yeah, that's a long
1 or 2 hours.
Yeah, it's
And this is with the advanced tools.
Yeah,
Like this would not have been possible back in the day. Like, I mean, technically
theoretically,
it's possible. It's
yeah,
theoretically possible.
yeah,
But the amount of time it would take
yep,
is just completely unreasonable.
yep.
All right, so then we just have another manual into a recycling this section again. I'm really proud of this loop here. I wanted to do a granule loop or whatever loop.
Yeah, that's like the only loop I think in the track, or like a direct loop at least.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember the tail manual loop in Mountain. There's like a dotted line tail manual loop.
Oh, you mean Mountain? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Mountain. Okay, so
I had fallen to the beat in my head for some reason, but yes, I do recall. Yeah.
So I actually traced a loop for that, and here I was trying not to trace anything. I was trying to use like geometry. So this is like a quarter of a circle, and this is a quarter of a circle, and it's the same size. And then this is like a circle that's has half the radius. But it ended up looking a little funky.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a hot air balloon or a balloon or something.
Yeah, I don't know how to mathematically work out like a perfect loop, like a roller coaster kind of loop, but
there you go.
I tried.
Glenn, get on it. That's your next challenge.
Yes. Make a perfect loop. This was fun, actually, to make, like this tumbling section on a single line.
Yeah.
And I was gonna try to recycle this like by curving it down, but then it synced to the music when he just like that. It worked so well.
Whoa, I think we lagged out for a second there. So would you mind briefly re-showing that?
Sure. I know I haven't been playing the music a lot. I just kind of like to go through frame by frame. So this section, I left it in because he actually hit the line in time with the music, even though I didn't intend it that way.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. And then I had to make sure that he wasn't affected by any of these poles here. It looks like he was, actually.
Yeah, like briefly, but not enough for it to matter.
But it didn't kill him, which is all that matters.
Yeah.
This was a nightmare right here. Because I had to get him out of here, but I had to do it cleanly.
Oh, yeah.
And so without this curve here, obviously he'd just die because he'd be randomly affected by this. So I had to get really creative with like funky positions here.
Yeah. But you still kind of kept that overall shape. So, and it's like it's frames or something, so it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. So I didn't like the look of it when I was working on it, but then when I played it back, I was like, it goes by so quick. Like you don't even know what happened. He's just suddenly snapped to this line. So it worked out very nicely.
Yeah. One thing I've learned of these recycling tracks is that if you just spend enough time just like trialing and erroring it, you can literally like, it's like the possibilities are almost infinite if you're just willing to like waste half of your life.
Oh, for sure. Like the ending section of this track, there's so many variants on those tricks that you can do. It's mind-boggling. I'm really a fan of this type of sledding riding, though, upside down.
Yep, me too. I love seeing that.
I think I should talk about the song a little bit, maybe. So
yeah,
it's kind of fun. I'm not like a huge fan of Fleetwood Mac. I like their stuff, but I picked the song because it synced so well with the start of the track, and then it just kind of worked out that the mood of the song really fit the track very well. So it all kind of went together. So
yeah, that's one of the things I would say about this track is like sometimes you get, like stuff that syncs mechanically but not atmospherically.
Yes.
And
Yeah. That.
yeah, like this track I think does that quite well. Like you have a kind of, you know, almost like day to day kind of feel, but it's like the
Hmm.
stuff you're doing, like you do it in such a like casual yet kind of frame perfect way that just
Hmm.
works out very nicely.
All right. So then a little bit of a manual section here. I wasn't a fan of how this turned out. Uh, it kind of it's rough. Again, going with that like Toivo perspective, there's just a lot of shaking, and then like here
Body,
he just it pops in. It's just kind of messy looking.
yep,
But again, I kept running into this problem where I was running out of speed because I kept trying to space recycle.
yeah,
So I just kind of unfortunately gave up a little bit here and just pinched him to speed him up.
yeah. Of
But
course,
then I
like
got lucky.
yeah, like obviously like 99% of people watching this don't really notice that, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, I know that's a question you ask, like which part of the track do you
Oh
not
yeah,
like, and
yeah,
so there's your answer. This is a part that bothers me every time. It's just
oh
it
yeah,
also it doesn't even go well with the music either. But I just wanted to get him up to speed again. So
yeah, totally, dude.
all right, so then I pulled him out of this. Okay, and now we're getting to this part. So I was kind of this just started going really far away from the track,
Hmm.
and so I decided to just keep it going. And then my idea, I'll get into the second line in a moment, but my idea was that I was going to have this line just go straight down. And
uh,
let me go to, so up here, I was going to have this line uh, go up to here, and then I was going to 10-point cannon him in one frame up to here,
yeah,
and then have him like recycle the track.
yeah.
But the problem with that was I didn't want like a 10-point cannon out of nowhere, like
Yeah, it didn't
on the aesthetic of this
thematically,
track.
yeah, necessarily. I guess like you kind of had the theme of the dot, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I could
yeah,
have done a dot there too, but then that's really obvious.
yeah,
So
and
that's when I
then
had the
yeah,
idea. Why not just copy and paste the entire thing down there and pretend like he is recycling it, even though there was no visual cue for it.
yeah, and like honestly, like not knowing that you did that whilst watching the track, I was like, holy shit, how many times did you recycle this?
uh,
And then like for a while I was like, holy shit, and then Sheldon told me like bro, he actually just copy and pasted the track, and I watched it again, and eventually I like figured out where he did it. I was like, oh, it's like that long bit. Now I realize why he's moving so far away. But like the longest time, I just assumed it was all the same thing. So you
I,
did well.
I I guess I kind of succeeded. I was trying to confuse,
Mm.
not didn't know what was happening. I wanted to utilize the paste feature for something other than like art or animation. I wanted to copy and paste, like show that you can copy and paste track and do something creative with it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I had these two lines here that just went off screen,
Yeah.
and then I had this line here, and I was like, I need to connect that other line because otherwise a line will just appear out of nowhere, and everything has to connect on this track. So that's when I utilized this section, which already forked off. Even though he doesn't ride this curve,
Okay.
it's just there. It's just there for aesthetic, so that when we go down to this part, it connects again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Keeps that continuity.
Exactly. So, and then of course, if I have a line down there, I should probably use it. So I'll
Yeah.
let him fall.
Going back to that upside down trick, has that been
Oh,
done
this one.
often before? Because I really like that one. That was cool.
Yeah, I do this even cooler later on.
Hmm.
I don't know. I haven't. Maybe I haven't kept up enough with line rider tracks,
No,
but
neither have I.
I feel like upside down sled riding is where it's at.
Oh yeah, it's the next genre to be tackled.
All right, so you're gonna want. Want you to keep an eye on his speed here because
Hmm.
he's kind of starting to go really fast because he's been falling. This was really hard. Like this almost killed him.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was just barely survivable. Okay, so then I needed to slow him down, but again, I needed to do it in a way where I only can utilize one line. And so this is like a weird quirk. This did not have the effects I was expecting, but I did a multiplier, not a multi-line. Let me see here. Yeah, heavy use of multipliers here, and this drops his speed down really quickly. But strangely enough, he actually balances here.
Huh.
Like he actually doesn't fall down, and like he just balances on like this. And then he started going the other way, and I was like, "What is going on?"
It's so strong that you managed to push him back up, I guess.
Yeah, he's just like floating. But it worked out perfectly because I managed to drop the speed enough so that he could survive entering this.
Yeah. But wait, you're multi-lining him to the left. So
yes.
How on earth is he standing up?
I don't know. This is something I still don't understand. At the end I start multi-lining him forward, but like just to flick him. But if I were to keep this up, he would actually balance like around this. Like he would balance on this line, but he'd be dropping speed. He'd be dropping speed really fast, so you'd need to be going like 200 or whatever to sustain it for a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's like a weird physics quirk. Someone needs to make a whole track using that.
Yeah, explain in the comments why this works, someone.
All right, so I managed to halve the speed and finagle him. To be honest, I know this is a copy paste, so it's not technically a recycle, but this section was actually really difficult because I was not allowed to draw any new curves.
Oh, I see.
So I had to reuse. I could only draw things where there are lines, and that actually made it kind of difficult, even though it's not technically recycling.
Yeah.
So I had to pull him here and then get lucky, like keep experimenting until he doesn't die.
This is an interesting quandary. If you copy and paste your track and recycle it, technically, is it recycling or not recycling if it's exactly the same track?
Yeah, it's like a different kind of recycling.
Yeah,
it's like just recycling the shape, but not the actual curve itself.
True.
Oh, let me just say, I'm really a fan of this. This is like a butt flick thing. I think it goes well with the music too.
Yeah, let's hear that. Oh yeah, the pop is that's very nice. Yeah.
It goes really smoothly into this manual. And then this would have been cooler in a real recycle. It would have been so much harder. I understand the disappointment there when people realize that this is just a copy.
Disappointment. I'm honestly, in a way, like it impresses me just as much, really.
Okay, so then I had the idea of having him hang on one contact point and like wobble back and forth.
Yeah. Let's hear that with the music.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewind it and.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so you can see it kind of goes in time with the music.
That is nice. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a concepts kind of guy. I'm not very artistically inclined, like in terms of like drawing skill, but I have concepts that I like to execute.
Yeah, and they're damn good.
Thank you. All right, so then just some more recycling. I think I'll play this part with the music. So yeah, just recycling curves.
Yeah.
And then again, this would have been really cool if it were an actual recycle, but it was actually still difficult to get him to balance because this curve wasn't made with this manual in mind.
Yeah, it's an odd shape. Except I remember as I watch it, like anyone who's like kind of done a lot of manuals, that you kind of look at it and you get like a feeling looking at it, like you expect it to overbalance, but it doesn't, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So something else that made this way more difficult, and no one's gonna realize, is that because I'm trying to synchronize to the music, like there's a huge change here. Let me play it. So then the music completely shifts going into this next section, the final section.
Yes.
I had to time this so that it was mostly out of frame from the rest of the track.
I see.
And I decided I wanted to recycle this loop. And so I was basically on a time limit. Once I got to this section, I had to get him onto this loop like within 10 or 15 seconds, however long it was, in order for it to sync to the music. So that was another thing that made this section more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And now the final section. So this is where I'm just like trying to be a show off of an all granule section or whatever, all pulling section. Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
So this is the nose one we've seen many times. Tail one.
Yep. One of the things I liked about this section is the way you bring the lines into the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just kind of works kind of nicely because it's quite elegant.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the only way I could do this section and have it fit with the aesthetic of the rest of the track. So this is that sled riding that you like.
Oh yeah, this is.
It's basically backwards.
Yeah.
This would be cooler at. Oh, I was gonna say this would be cooler at slow speeds, but now that I think about it, that'd be really hard to do at slow speeds.
Yeah, that could be problematic for sure.
Yeah. Okay, and this is the point. I would say that about 50% of the amount of time I spent on this track was up to this point here.
Yeah.
And then the other 50% of the time was just this ending section.
Really?
Because each of these curves took me like 2 to 6 hours to do over multiple sessions.
Oh, wow.
It was so tedious. I didn't enjoy this section. It looks cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't have fun making it.
What do you do to kill the time? Are you like a podcast?
I put on a podcast.
Yeah. 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 So.
I actually my really long podcast ran out of episodes, so I just restarted it.
Yeah, I do that at work as well.
I don't remember what happened here, so I'll just listen to that. Okay, so then we got this again. So then I started. Okay, I've only been using the sled. Let's use Bosch. So this is a shoulder and hand pull.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we just sustain that for 3 seconds. These are all maximum strength. Oh yeah. So this is where I finally started using iterations.
Oh.
I was not using iterations up until this point.
Was this just something that you just kind of couldn't be asked to look into, or were you just not unaware?
I didn't understand what iterations were.
Oh, I see. And you made all of that without really. That's
I made all that on a frame by frame basis.
Oh, jeez.
And I kept wondering, like, why is it that it's like only half pulling the contact point? It's only pulling it on some iterations.
Oh shit! The fact that you did so much of that is like impressive without that knowledge.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit cleaner had I known. But so after figuring out the iterations, that's why this took so long. It's because I had to check each iteration on the frames. That's interesting. The point like compresses here. That's why he ends up in a fakie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I checked to make sure that these lines were interacting with these contact points on every iteration, and not any of the other contact points.
Oh yeah.
So each line probably took, or each frame probably took like about a minute.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was working as fast as I could, like as efficiently as I could.
But now we have that kind of perfect body position, so that's also nice.
Yeah. So then a backwards sled pull thing. Okay, this is another interesting physics quirk I found. So did you know that you can speed Bosch up with blue lines on every single frame?
I guess I'm aware of it from Ham, but I don't know how you actually do that.
It's this contact point, the top peg.
Yeah.
So you'll see his speed. And this is another thing I did not expect to happen. I thought it was going to slow him down because it's blue.
Right. So this is different to what I'm thinking. Then is just by
So I'm just pulling this contact point and that's it. But strangely enough, when you pull it at maximum strength, he gains a ton of speed.
What's going on in the iterations?
It's just this. It's
Oh,
here.
really?
I'll show you. Okay.
Interesting.
See. Okay. It's just pulling that 1 point. That's all it is.
It looks like it's kind of almost. So if we go to the next frame, does it repeat that exact same sequence every time?
It does.
So it's kind of like almost pulling itself along in a way somehow. That's interesting.
I wonder if it has something to do with the weird shape on the momentum tick here. Like maybe that's giving him the forward boost.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's almost like it kind of snaps back every single time. Interesting.
Yeah, but without the line, I forgot my controls. I don't want to risk breaking the track. But without the line, yeah, it's just pulling that. So, so he gained a ton of speed here, which was not. It wasn't ideal until once again, I was actually trying to pull the Spidey point, but the hand contact points were being very annoying, and I couldn't get it to work. So I just pulled this point, and then I was shocked at how far away from the sled it went.
Yeah, you can pull that a hell of a lot further than that, even if you want to.
Yeah, this is as far as you can go with just like a simple one line thing.
Yeah.
So he's basically floating around this line. And it was so powerful that the extra speed boost actually it helped, because otherwise, like you can see, he rotates
very quickly.
Almost 180 just from that 1 point.
I think that's the strongest point you can pull, really, that and the Spidey point, as you call it, when it's in fakie.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's just like one contact point, that's probably one of the stronger ones.
Yeah.
And again, like all these tricks are like multiple seconds, and each second has 40 frames, and each frame has 6 iterations.
As a man who made 400 singularities, and I appreciate if you've seen Bacon, you know I appreciate your struggle, man. Like those 6 iteration tricks, like some of them each frame took like several minutes.
Yeah,
I appreciate your struggle, my dude.
That's another level there.
Yeah, that's just when it gets to like, I don't know, masochism, I guess.
All right, so this is just a hand thing, a hand pull. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah, we're redefining terminology here, boys.
And then I started brainstorming ideas. I think I was at work when I thought of this. I was honestly thinking of this while at work. I was like, well, what if you pull diagonal points on the sled instead of like 2 of the same? Like you could pull this one or these 2 or these 2.
Yeah.
And so I pulled these 2, and it actually puts them in fakie, and it results in this really weird look when you're
X frame.
Yeah.
Damn.
So then it's like halfway through the line, but it's
yeah, it's
this.
nice.
I think this is the curve that took me the longest because.
Oh really?
Because I had to work with 2 lines, so I had to do like twice the amount of work.
Oh yeah, I get it.
All right, and then I wanted to do something cool here, but I haven't used the foot, so I'll just use the foot.
Yeah.
And then I also remember that this ending was an absolute pain because he's going 230 pixels per frame, and I want to slow him down and have him stop on an exact frame.
Yeah.
Like the exact frame to the beat.
Yeah.
Like just slowing him down is hard enough, but having him stop on an exact frame is very...
Especially when you get up like around the 200 ppf mark, you get like these weird physics things where he'll just want to stay fast. And I see, yeah, you kind of had to resort to that in the end.
I didn't want to do this. I wanted to have it be a single curve, but I couldn't slow him down enough in time. I wasn't intending him to go as fast as he ended up going.
Oh yeah,
that's just what those curves ended up doing. So it ended up not looking too bad, especially with...
It doesn't take away from the track at all.
Especially with the vocals here. The way she sings the line, and holds it out, it kind of... I'll play this part with the audio. It kind of goes with the vocals, I think. Let me rewind it a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I like the way
So
her voice kind of vibrates.
yeah, it kind of quivers a little bit, and it worked out that it kind of timed with the track, and then I landed him on this curve, multi-lining, multi-layering, all that stuff. And I originally wanted him to land flat on his sled, but he absolutely refused to rotate that direction.
Bad boss.
So then this worked, and I was like, that's good. It's not the position I wanted him in, but he's stalled, and he stalled on the frame I wanted.
Yeah.
I guess that's the end.
Yeah, this has been
Can't continue on.
This has been something, my dude. You've kind of redefined the terminology. You've shown us some of the most insane. What do you even call this? Like manuquirk, granuquirk? I don't even know. And yeah, as usual, you've kind of blown my mind. So thanks for that.
No problem.
So that will conclude this episode of Track Talk. Thanks to all of you who made it through the whole thing, though I'm sure any Line Rider enthusiasts out there wouldn't want to miss this episode. So yeah, thanks for joining us again, iPi.
No problem.
Super zoomed in eye. Very nice. And yeah, feel free to give your love and hate below. Yeah, see ya.
See ya.